Hey everybody, welcome to the webinar. I apologize, we're starting a few minutes late. I was having some technical difficulties on my end, but I am so glad that we are all here together. We're gonna have an awesome webinar for you guys. I'm super excited to share all about how to schedule your success and how to use a model calendar to make success inevitable. So first and foremost, I just want to officially welcome you here to the start of the 3-day workweek masterclasses. We have got an amazing week lined up for you guys, and there's so much good stuff coming. And I want you to make sure that you get the most out of it. And so I want to share just a couple things right off the top to ensure that you're getting the most out of this class today and all of the classes upcoming. So for this live class, please make sure that you are in a distraction-free zone, somewhere you won't be disturbed. And so close down your browsers, shut the door behind you, just really make sure that you're here, you're present for the next 30-40 minutes that we're moving through this content, because it's so valuable and I know it has the ability to transform your life and your business. Make sure you silence your phone and just really give your attention to this. I'd recommend that you have pen and paper handy, grab your favorite journal, or just open a fresh Google Doc on your computer so that you can take the notes that are applicable to you and would be useful to you and your business. So I'm gonna just get rolling in a second here, just give people another minute to join us so that we're all on the same page and ready. I'm gonna make sure my slides are queued up. And I'm gonna be doing a screen share during the presentation so that you guys can see my screen and the notes and the slides that I have prepared for you. So we'll get rolling, like I said, in just a second. So exciting, we're here at the start of these master classes. I've had such pleasure putting them together for you guys. I've interviewed 7 other amazing women who are just killing it in their businesses. All of them are multiple six-figure entrepreneurs who are working part-time hours, doing work that they completely love, that are really that's really impacting the world and those people that they are meant to serve. And so I'm super excited to introduce you to all of them. Each day you're getting 2 master classes, and later today at 11 o'clock Eastern time, in just shy of an hour, you're going to get on-demand access to Rachel Cook's masterclass. That masterclass is all about how to plan your best week ever using her signature entrepreneurial scorecard system. This system is something I have personally used in my business, and it's a really great way to ensure you are on track to hit your income goals. And so if you're hoping to have your first 6-figure year this year, her system for setting yourself up for that is really cool and something I think you'd love to implement. So make sure that after this class, when that class is unlocked, that you hop right over and dive into that as well. Okay. So I first and foremost, in case you're new to me, in case these 3-day workweek masterclasses are the first time that we're hanging out, I want to share a little bit about myself, and then we'll get rolling into today's class, all about how to schedule your success to make it inevitable. So again, just hello, welcome. I am Cailen Ascher. I'm a business coach for women entrepreneurs, and I help my people transform from under-earning entrepreneurs into abundant business owners. And during these master classes, I am going to be sharing, and all of the ladies I've invited in are going to be sharing, our best tips for helping you create full-time income working part-time hours. This is something that I live for, guys. This is what I am so passionate about, and I'm so excited to bring it to you. When I became a mom 4.5 years ago, I realized I didn't want to be working all those crazy hours that I've been working before on my business. And so I stepped into this experiment, a 3-day work week, and it has worked out so beautifully for me. My business has blossomed. I've hit the 6-figure level, and I've been there for 4 years, growing every single year. And I am just so excited to bring my teaching to you today, and also share all of the teachings this week inside the 3-day workweek masterclasses. It's so cool to be kicking things off with this live class. I love teaching live. There's such cool energy. And so, yeah, let's dive into it. How to schedule your success using a model calendar to make success inevitable. So I'm going to pop on over, do a screen share now. So you're going to be seeing my screen, not my face anymore, but I wanted to start with me on camera just so I could see all of you guys and just really kick things off in a welcoming way. So welcome to the 3-Day Workweek Masterclasses. Let's dive into today's live class. All right, screen share time. All righty. So let's dive into today's topic. Schedule your success. Use a model calendar to make success inevitable. All right, so let's get rolling. So hello, welcome. Again, I'm Cailen Ascher. I'm a mom of 2 little girls, I'm a wife, and I'm a business coach and the founder of Success Made Simple. Success Made Simple is a revolutionary framework that transforms under-earning entrepreneurs into abundant business owners with part-time hours. And as I mentioned earlier, and as you likely know since you signed up for these masterclasses, I have a 3-day work week. So as you can probably tell, lifestyle is priority number 1 for me. I am a mom, I'm a wife, and I want to enjoy time with my family, not just on the weekends, but throughout the entire week too. I want to be able to take my girls to morning play dates and Friday swim classes, go for walks in the wagon around our neighborhood. I want to be able to bake cookies on a rainy afternoon and have time to cook dinner for my family most nights of the week. So that is what I want in terms of lifestyle. I also have a mission to inspire 1 million women to create success on their terms. And I'm over the moon in love with the work that I do. It is endlessly fulfilling, fun, and a very, very important piece of my life. I also love having the time, money, and freedom to create a schedule that works for me, my life, my family, and my business. I love date nights with my husband, long weekends away. I love family vacations and taking at least 3 weeks off around the holidays. I love all of these things. I love my work. I love my life. I really want to create work-life harmony to the best of my ability. So all these reasons and more are why after the birth of my first daughter back in October of 2014, I switched from my standard 40-hour work week to a 3-day work week, which for me is about 15 to maybe 20 hours, usually not that much. The thing is, that was really cool, is when I prioritize my time and my lifestyle, my business took off. So when I stepped into my 3-day work week, it really shifted things for my business, and my business took off, even though I was working fewer hours. I went from working full-time hours and making a part-time income to working less than 20 hours a week and crossing the 6-figure mark in my business in 2016. Then in 2017, I had my second daughter and I took 4 months off after she was born and still increased my income by 15%. And last year in 2018, I cut back my hours even further, and now I'm working generally around 15 hours a week, and I increased my revenue last year by 50%. And right now, it's early in the year, but I am on track to double or possibly even triple revenue this year, still working and honoring that 15-hour work week of 3 days, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. The really funny thing is that back when I was hustling 40 hours a week, success felt really hard. It felt complicated and elusive. I remember looking around at other entrepreneurs who were successful and wondering what their secret was. I just couldn't figure it out. But after stepping into my 3-day work week and studying with some of the best and brightest minds in the coaching and personal development world, I began to see that success wasn't magic, it wasn't luck, it could actually be scheduled. And that's what I'm going to be talking about today. So let me explain a little bit. I noticed that the women who I admired most in my industry didn't just hope that their businesses would make them money. They put solid plans and systems in place to ensure that their businesses would bring in money. And one of the most powerful tools I uncovered during this process was using a model calendar. And that's what we're going to be talking about today. A model calendar is an outline of your ideal work week with time and space for everything essential. When you have structure in your life and in your business, both can flourish. But you need to have that structure in place first. So if you are ready for 3-day work weeks, 6-figure years, and success on your terms, welcome to class today. I am so excited to dive into today's lesson with you and walk you through this amazing process that I know has the potential to transform your life and your business. So let's move into schedule your success. Use a model calendar to make success inevitable. Okay, so the first thing I want to talk about is just a little bit more about what a model calendar is. This is a term that I'm very familiar with, my clients are familiar with, most of my community, but in case you're new, I want to give you a sense of what this actually means. So for me, a model calendar is an outline of my ideal week with time and space for everything essential, so that I know that everything I need to accomplish for my business, for my family, for myself has a place to land so that I never feel rushed or stressed out, and that I make highest and best use of my time. Really, really essential that we start to value our time at a new level. So often I find that the women that I work with are undervaluing their precious time. And that is honestly, if I could teach you one thing, if you're only going to take one thing away from this class today, it would be to value your time more. It is a finite, limited resource. I know a lot of people are all, excited about making more money, and that is fantastic. But we aren't ever going to make more money until we value our time more. And the cool thing is about money is we can always make more money. There's never a cap on how much we can make. Maybe we self-impose a cap or a limit on ourselves, but in the expansiveness of the universe, we have unlimited potential to earn, but we've got limited time. So if we start valuing our time more, everything can shift. So let's talk now about why you would want to use a model calendar. A model calendar sets healthy boundaries around your time so that you can be your most productive, efficient, and focused self, both personally and professionally. It helps you see the value of your time. It also lays the groundwork for working less, making more, and ultimately living better. And having a model calendar just honestly feels really, really good. I'm one of those people, I'm sure many of you are out there if you're attracted to this kind of training, where I love my calendars, I love my planner. It gives me so much pleasure to write things down on my calendar, to map them out, to look forward to them, to schedule hour by hour what's going down in my planner, and more importantly, the satisfaction of then crossing it off when it's completed. So if this is ringing true for you, if you're that kind of person who just loves feeling that organization of your schedule, you are gonna fall, head over heels in love with this model calendar process. And if maybe you're on the other end of the spectrum and you're like, I feel really disorganized, the whole concept of creating a schedule for myself feels really claustrophobic, and I don't like exactly the idea of setting boundaries around my time, I invite you to stay with us, keep an open mind, and maybe exactly what I've established for myself. And I'm also going to be sharing some examples from clients. Maybe this isn't exactly what would work for you, but I'm sure there's a nugget of something that will help you value your time more and make better use of it. Okay, so now I want to share with you my model calendar. Now, before we dive into my model calendar, I just want to preface it by saying that this is the schedule that works for me. This isn't what I'm saying you should create. And I'm going to give you additional examples of schedules from other clients so that you can also see what they have done. But yeah, take this as inspiration. I'm also going to be talking through how you can create your own. So these examples are merely that, examples for inspiration. And then the whole purpose of our class today is to empower you with the tools and knowledge to create your own model calendar. Okay, so I break my model calendar down into A weeks and B weeks. Now, the reason I do this is because with a 3-day work week, it can become very challenging to have clients every single day, every week, right? If I had clients Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays every single week back to back, there would be no time, space, or energy, honestly, for me to work on bigger projects, to really serve my clients to the best of my ability. And so what I do is I batch all of my clients on my A weeks, and on those A weeks, I try to get the bulk of them onto Tuesdays and then a little overflow on Wednesdays. And then I have half day Wednesday and Thursday for content creation, business development, those types of things. And then on my B week, I try to leave it completely open so that I can make real headway in my business on those big action items. So let me just talk through a little bit of my model calendar, what you see on it and what it means, so that you have a sense of how I am organizing my time. So like I said, my work week is Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. I work from around 9 o'clock to usually around 4 o'clock or so on those days. Some days run a little longer till 5, but usually never past like 5:15. Honestly, I max out at that point. It's been just too much time at the computer. So when I sit down first thing Tuesday morning, I like to organize my week. Then I'll do an email check. I know there's a lot of people that say put email off if you can, but for me, it feels like clutter. And so until I clean the clutter, it's hard for me to focus. And so part of this process of developing a model calendar for yourself is to know what works for you, what makes sense for you, your life, your business, so that you can create something that serves you to the best of its ability. So on these weeks, I get the inbox cleaned out. I usually have a team call with my team members so that we're all on the same page about the projects that we're working on, the things we want to be doing. And then I move into client sessions. My first client call is usually right before lunch at noon. And then I take a lunch break. I give myself at least 30 minutes away from my computer. I'll go sit, my office is upstairs in our house. And so I'll go downstairs, I'll make myself a hot lunch and sit usually at the kitchen table, try not to look at my phone or anything, and just have that time. If my girls are home, then, I spend a little bit of time with them, give them some kisses and hugs, talk to them about their school day. And then I move back upstairs by 2 o'clock for an afternoon of client calls. And that's my Tuesday. At the end of the day, I'll usually do one final brush, like an email check, maybe pop into my Facebook groups, just make sure everyone who needed me, with a pressing issue was taken care of. And then I close up shop for the day and I turn my computer off. I should also mention that, included on this model calendar, and you'll see this, it's not just my working hours. It's my entire work week. You could even include Saturday and Sunday if you wanted to, if you had, things that you wanted to map out for those days as well. But the reason I've included things above and beyond just my working hours is because it's so important when we are our own bosses running our own businesses that we take the time we need for ourselves to make sure that we are being supported in the way that we need, Otherwise, we're never going to be able to serve our clients, serve our communities, and serve our families, honestly, as our best selves. And so you'll see my day starts early. I like getting up early. That works for me. I wake up, I do some meditation, do a bit of yoga. I'll often go out for a jog in our neighborhood. I make breakfast for my girls and have that morning time with them. And then I start my workday at 9. I wake up early. I know a lot of people would be hungry to like dive right into work, but I know that I need that morning practice to ground me and anchor me so I can bring my best energy into the day. So I walked you through my Tuesday. On Wednesday, you'll see the morning is blocked off for content. And so for me, content is writing emails. It's outlining masterclasses, like working on this, working on projects, things like that. Any programs or courses that I'm rolling out, things that need my specific hand in them. My work, my writing, my voice, that type of thing is put into those content, that content time. I often have another client call right before lunch. And then in the afternoon on Wednesdays, I have a call with my own mastermind. So this is the one that I run for the women of my community. It's called 6 Figures Made Simple. And we'll have a call on Wednesday afternoons every other week. Then I often have a call with my own coach, the mentor that I work with. And so that afternoon is filled with those types of things. On Thursdays, I work a half day. And in the morning, I do a bit more content development just to kind of wrap up anything that maybe was overflow from Wednesday. I do some business development. And so for me, this is like trainings, programs, anything that I am personally taking that I need a little bit of time for so that I can, watch the videos, consume the content, do the worksheets, whatever it is there. I also make time on Thursday for an interview. Now, this isn't a slot that's always full, but if I'm going to interview someone for my podcast, or if I'm getting interviewed for someone else's podcast, or maybe a telesummit, something like that, I leave that block of time available. And then on Thursdays, I always do Facebook Lives. So I'll often do a Facebook Live in my free group, in the 3-Day Workweek group that hopefully all of you are a part of. And then I do a Facebook Live for my membership, Success Made Simple Academy. I do a Facebook Live just for them, for my exclusive members, so that they get a little extra love and training in the week as well. So as you can see, I'm working 2.5 days on my business. I've got that hour-long break usually for lunch each day. And then I've included on Mondays and Fridays, also highlighted in the pink, that I do check in with my business. This is such a common question that I get asked of, oh my gosh, I was only working 3 days, like what would happen to my business on those other 4 days? I love my business, guys. Like I love doing these master classes. It's a Monday today, and I have a babysitter downstairs with my girls because I wanted to be able to be with you guys at the start of the master classes. And so I make some exceptions, during launch time, especially, I'll put in a few extra hours. During a regular work week, I'll check in during nap time so that I'm not, first of all, I just love it. So I find myself wanting to check in and pop in, but I know it's important for me to be visible. It's the online world is fast paced, and I can't leave things sitting all the time, right? I can't, if something comes in Thursday afternoon, I can't necessarily leave it till Tuesday morning. And so I like to check in maybe another, little bit on the weekend, perhaps, but if it doesn't happen, I know that I have my guaranteed time during my 3-day work week. So if we're traveling, if my kids are sick, if I'm sick, I know that things will be taken care of because there's time and space carved every single week for my business. So now let's go into my B week and show you a little bit about that. So the B week, the time blocks are laid out very similarly, but what you'll see here, the big difference is that there's no client calls. And so I coach. If you're a coach, I highly recommend you give this a test, or a consultant, anyone who's needs to have time for calls with their clients, I highly recommend you explore doing an AB week schedule, because what I realized is that my clients love it. They love having 2 weeks between our calls to implement what we've discussed. My calls and coaching are fast-paced. That 45, 60-minute session that we have together, we cover a lot. And my clients are busy, right? They're moms, they've got full lives. Some of them still have part-time or full-time work. They need the spaciousness to implement what we've been talking about and really make it stick. And so having that bi-weekly schedule is a win-win for both of us. Another thing that's just kind of an interesting side effect of having an AB week is that, let's say you have a program that's 12 weekly sessions. So that's a 3-month program. If you decide to keep it 12 sessions but move it to bi-weekly, it becomes a 6-month program. And even though it's the same number of calls, granted it's more time, right? You could easily raise the price of that by 50 or even 100%. So you could be working with half the number of clients on a bi-weekly schedule and have secured income for 6 months of the year instead of 3. And then you also have the spaciousness to layer in other income streams. Maybe you could start a group program. Maybe you could look into doing a mastermind, hosting a mastermind, something like that, where if your schedule is jam-packed with one-on-one clients, yes, you can charge a high price point, but you're not necessarily leveraging your time, which learning how to balance the value of your time and leveraging your time, that's really what's going to take you from trading dollars for hours into a business that can scale, and to figure out how to get out of that full client load mode into a more fluid, flexible schedule where you can work with fewer one-on-one clients, but be offering some, that's a one-to-one setup, one-to-many approaches, like I said, like a group program, an online course, mastermind, something like that, maybe a workshop. Some of those items can then be really easily fit into your more spacious schedule. Alrighty, so let's see what's up next. Okay, I want to talk you through some tips for how to create your own model calendar. So the first thing you are going to want to do is to start with some lists. As I mentioned earlier, I am a girl who loves lists. They make me really happy. I love list making. So if you're like me, you're going to love this part. If you don't like making lists, just bear with me, because on the other side of this list making lies that beautiful model calendar that is going to organize your life and business and help you scale to the next level. So what you're going to want to do is make 3 categories. A category for personal needs and self-care, a category for responsibilities and family needs, and a category for working hours. And so let me give you a sense of what would fall into each of these. So as you saw on my model calendar, and maybe I'll just go back to it so I can kind of talk you through it. On my model calendar, you'll see that my morning starts with personal items. I meditate, I do yoga, I get some movement in. That is a form of self-care for me. I need those quiet early morning hours for myself. You'll also see that I have time and space for family needs and responsibilities. I have time for making breakfast for my girls, cooking dinner for them in the evenings. On my Mondays and Fridays, I have the days off so that I can be with them for play dates and swim class and things like that. And then inside the framework that's already starting to develop, because I'm sure, especially in the area of responsibilities and family needs, I'm sure there are certain things that need to be on your schedule, need to be on your calendar already. Then we look at what hours remain. And that from that time is what we create our working hours from. Now, big caveat here, guys. all the remaining hours do not automatically become working hours. Okay, so let me say that again. Once you schedule your personal needs and self-care, once you get your responsibility and family needs on the calendar, what remains, not all of it necessarily, becomes working hours. What you want to look at is the space, the time that you do have available now that you've mapped out all of your responsibilities. And like I said, you might want to include Saturday and Sunday because maybe you're going to want to work a little bit on the weekends, especially if you have a full week. You're going to look at what hours you have left after you schedule the stuff for yourself and the responsibilities you need to take care of. And then see inside that container of time that's left, what hours would feel really good to work. So it's not about working all the available hours. It's about figuring out for you what are the best hours that you have available. For me personally, I am a morning person. So I work much better earlier in the day. That's why even on my longer days when I'm working, I often put calls in the afternoon because I know that my creative energy for content creation, for marketing, for things like that is going to be pretty much tapped by lunchtime. And so part of this is being honest with yourself and getting to know yourself. Maybe you're not sure. Maybe you're like, hey, I've got early morning available and late at night available. I'm not sure where I would work better. You know, I'm not crazy about the idea of doing work early in the morning, but I'm not really a night owl either. Like, you have to play with it. And maybe it means doing a test run for a couple weeks of doing some time in the morning, and then a test run for a couple weeks of doing, or even 1 week, doing time in the evening. Or maybe you're like, oh my gosh, I'm an early bird. Like, those are my hours. I'm going to find every bit of available morning time and then give myself permission not to work after whatever that cutoff time is for you, after the kids get home from school. No work after that. Or maybe you're like, I love working, or I love the energy that I have after the house is quiet in the evening, after the kids go to bed at 8 o'clock. I would love to just work for a couple hours before I go to bed. Like, that would feel like such a gift. Maybe that's the best time for you. And so again, this isn't about copying what I've done or doing what you think you should do, but rather exploring what makes sense for you, your life, your family, your business, and finding those sweet batch of hours that really work for you. Even if it's just 5, 10, whatever hours a week, even if it's smaller than you want it to be, because if you're making highest and best use of those 5 to 10 hours or whatever hours you have available, I guarantee you will be endlessly more productive, fulfilled, and feeling good. Honestly, that's the most important thing. You'll be feeling good about the work that you're accomplishing, more so than if you try to do work in every available pocket of time, because that is going to burn you out. That's going to run you ragged, and that's what's going to make you feel like giving up on your business. But if you're working feel-good, sustainable hours, you're going to have that energy to keep going and showing up and being consistent and being there long enough to break through, right? That's the thing about business. We have to keep showing up for a really long time in order to get this thing going. I was an entrepreneur for many, many years before shifting to my 3-day work week and my business taking off. There was a lot of groundwork there. And I'm not saying that it's necessarily going to take you the time that it took me, but there does have to be consistency in play. And having a feel-good model calendar gives you an ease to being consistent. It makes it simple. It simplifies the whole thing because you know exactly when you're going to be showing up, what you're going to be doing. It takes all the guesswork out of it, makes it simple. Okay, so we went through that one. Let's move on to the next. Real time versus ideal time. Oh, this is so, so good. I really want you to hear this. So this is a concept that I talk to all of my clients about when we're designing their model calendars. It's something I've included inside my 3-day work week program, which we dive deep into it, but I want to give you a sense of what it is here. So like I said, we want to figure out what your best working hours are, because we want to make highest and best use of that time. Now, the interesting thing is that often when we first set up our model calendar, we beautifully pack it with all of the things that we need to do. And then we realize, oh my gosh, I feel rushed. I feel hurried. All of the things that I was hoping to escape, maybe from my corporate job, have now followed me right into my business. And that's because we are functioning from a place of ideal time, how we would wishfully like to be using our time, rather than real time. So ideal time is thinking that you can write an email in 30 minutes, when real time, when you honestly sit down to do it, from outline to draft to final mode, it takes 65 minutes. So it takes more than double the time that you set aside. Yes, ideally, it would be amazing to bang out an email or whatever it is that you're working on, to bang it out in 30 minutes. But in the beginning, especially as you're kind of figuring this out, you really need to block at least an hour for that task. I guarantee you are going to feel much, much better getting 1 or 2 things accomplished a day or even a week than if you say you're going to get 5 or 10 or 15 things accomplished and you get 3 things accomplished. Because we are essentially setting ourselves up to fail, or at least to feel like a failure. But if we honor the real time that things take, then we're setting ourselves up for success. And so this is about being really honest with yourself, guys, and thinking and figuring out what time you actually need for the things inside your business. And if you're like, I have no idea how much time things take me. I've never really been aware. I just have been flying by the seat of my pants, working whatever I could. So this is the solution for that. Do a little time tracking. Okay, I know it's not super sexy, and it might feel like silly that you have to self-monitor like this, but just get a piece of paper, put it next to your computer. Every 30, 60 minutes, pause for a moment and write down what you did during that previous time. You will be amazed at what you learn about yourself, about the amount of time it takes you to do things, about the distractions that come up for you when you're working, all of that stuff. I guarantee that the moment you sit down to do time tracking, you're going to want to start to change things, but do your best to just honor your current habits, because we need some awareness before we can change them. So do the time tracking. That will really help you figure out the best hours you have. And one last note here, guys, be compassionate with yourselves. The model calendar is not something to beat yourself up about. This is about a tool to serve you and your business. If I'm going to be 100% honest here, I don't think I have ever had an ideal work week according to my model calendar, but the model calendar sets a beautiful standard for me to reach for. And it gives me guidance in a moment when I'm like, what am I going to focus on today? And it's like, well, I set aside time for content creation. Oh, all right. Well, why don't I use this time to work on that project I've been thinking about? Or my client, had to reschedule, so I have some found time during a client call. Well, why don't I use this time to plant seeds for a new client for when this relationship ends? So I'm going to do a little bit of outreach during this found time. It helps give you some structure and some guidance about how to use your available time. So please, please don't use this as an excuse to beat yourself up with like, oh my gosh, I set aside 12 hours to work on my business and I only, got in 6 good hours. 6 good hours is amazing. That's 6 more than someone else who hasn't, set up a model calendar or hasn't moved forward on their business or their dreams is doing. So don't beat yourself up. Just recognize, life comes up, especially if you've got kids, right? Like kids get sick. Kids need your time and attention. Things come up when you have those life responsibilities that are a little unpredictable. But the model calendar gives you that beautiful structure to lean into, to support you, and to reach for. And so Let it be that. Let it be an inspiration. Let it be a guide, but don't let it be a reason to beat yourself up. Okay, so now that you have now that you have made your lists, personal needs and self-care, responsibilities and family needs, and then your working hours, and obviously under your working hours, define what you need time for. If you're having trouble figuring out what you need time for, doing that time tracking that I mentioned will be really essential. So now you've got all these things that need to be placed on that model calendar, right? I'm sure some of the things it's like, well, like my girls, they've got swim class from 10 to 11 on Fridays. So like that needs to be in that time slot. Obviously something like business development, that could float around and land wherever. Or family time, maybe it could be on a Monday afternoon or a Friday evening or a Saturday morning. Some things can float, some things can't. So make sure the things that can't float get plugged in first. Because if you need to drive your kids to school every morning, that's a non-negotiable. That needs to be on there. Like maybe you could think of some creative solutions like starting a carpool or asking your partner to do it or something like that. But there are certain things that are going to be kind of rigid boundaries in your schedule. Make sure those are on there first. Then those other items can fill in around it. Think of this as like dragging and dropping into your schedule, and you can play with it. Like, let this be fun. This doesn't have to be this like stressful thing. Okay, so let's talk about how to create a template. So often what I will do is for a first go around, I'll hand write my schedule. I'll just get a blank sheet of white paper. I block out, all 5 days of the week or maybe even 7 days of the week. And I'll kind of just circle chunks of hours of like, okay, well, I know I need from like 5 in the morning, 5:30 when I wake up till 9 a.m. for like me time, family time. And so I'll like bubble that out each of those days. And then I'm like, okay, ideally I'd like to be working Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and a half day Thursdays. And so I'll chunk that time out and I'll just do a loose hand sketch so that I can play with it and kind of start to get my hands into it. From there, I often like to mock it up on Google Sheets. On a Google Doc, you can put like a grid into a Google Doc and fill it in. Or on Excel, something where you can block out chunks of hours or even 30-minute chunks, depending on how small you want the time frame. But I find it really useful to have something with some structure in order to create the model calendar, which is going to give us structure. All right, now I want to share with you some examples. I've got 3 examples from clients of their model calendars, and just to give you a sense of like what these can look like. I don't think any of these are 3-day work weeks like I have, so it'll give you just some ideas about maybe how you could craft your model calendar, or even what to put on your model calendar if you want some ideas above and beyond what you saw on mine. All right, so let's dive into this. So the first one you're seeing is Mariahs model calendar, and you can see we actually even color coded it. So if you like the idea of doing that, that's just another thing. I color coded mine as A week was one color, B week was another color, but she's actually color coded. We did this together. We color coded her time slots. And so all of the green is open work hours. So you can see here, we haven't yet filled in specifically what she's going to be working on in those work hours, but these were the hours that felt good to her. As you can see, there's still white space. Wednesday afternoons, Thursdays, Fridays, Saturday and Sunday, and in the evening times after dinner, it's white and available. It's open. So we didn't schedule every single hour of her day, but we tried to plant in there what her non-negotiables were, right? Like she wants that morning meditation, so we got that in there. She's an early riser just like me. Then she actually liked the idea of, maybe doing a little inbox check, kind of getting a feeler for the day. So she's got an hour after her meditation to do a little touch base with work. Then she has time for breakfast with her family. She gets the kids to school. And then depending on the day, she has different activities she moves into. At the moment, she's still freelancing. She's working for other people. So she knew that she needed that time on her calendar. She decided to do that on Tuesdays and Thursdays. She knows also that on Mondays and Tuesdays, she's got longer days available because her kids don't get home till later. So she knew she could get in more working hours. But for her, this is cool. She does, she was training for I think a decathlon. And so she was gonna do some swim training on some of those days. And so that's the kind of thing, like on my model calendar, in the past, I've included yoga on my Thursdays because I knew that I had childcare and I wanted to get to yoga class. And so highest and best use of my time on that Thursday morning was to get to yoga rather than dive right into my business. So I hope seeing this example is useful to you. And again, this is a model calendar. Mariah is not living strictly to this every single day, but this gives her a sense of how her time can be best used. And now that she has her green space and she knows like, okay, I've got these available hours, she can look at her task list for her business and figure out what do I want to be focusing on each one of these days. All right, let's look at the next one. This is Linda's model calendar. So Linda's kids are older. Her boys are teenagers, I believe. And so she had more available time than Mariah did because her kids were a little bit younger. So she's working more or less a full work week here. And that is totally fine. Okay, I want you to hear that. It's totally fine. If you've got the time and space available and you love your work and feel good working 40 hours or 50 or whatever the number of hours is for you, total permission to do that. This is about finding what makes sense for you, you. Doesn't matter what I'm doing, doesn't matter what any of the other teachers this week during the 3-day work week master classes are doing. This is about you. And so Linda, she was excited and ready to work full-time hours pretty much on her business. I mean, you can see that on most days she's ending work by 4:30. In the mornings, she's starting at 9 or 9:30. So she's got comfortable hours, 9:30 to 4:30. She's not pushing herself to the brink working 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. or anything like that. She's built in yoga class 2 days a week. She's got a nice morning practice all week long. On Saturdays and Sundays, it's later so that she can sleep in. And she scheduled in date nights too. She wanted to do a date night with her husband, and then she also wanted to do like a group date night where her and her husband would go out with friends. And so Friday nights are for one, for just her and her husband, and Saturday nights are for those social evenings out. She also, in addition to her copywriting work and working for current clients, she wanted time to reach out to new clients and also to work on her own book. And so as you can see, we've got time and space for all of it. And again, this is about finding what feels good for you and moving into it. Got one more example, and then we'll start wrapping things up for you guys. Okay, so this is Kelly's model calendar. Kelly is, she's a mom of 2. They're younger, and she really was going to have to honor school hours. And so what we did here for her is the green is client work, the blue is business projects. We also have time for consultation calls. And then the pink that you see outside of it is what we used for her free time. So we've scheduled into that free time. She wants to do some walking in the evening. She wants family time, maybe go to some yoga classes. But for her, just so you can sense the colors that we're using here, for her, her working hours are in green, yellow, and blue. And so everything else are non-working hours. That's for the family responsibilities. That's for the self-care. That's for those types of things. And so she's working from 9:30 to noon on Mondays. She's working from 9:30 to about 2:30 on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays, and then again 9 to noon on Fridays. So she's got, all days are half days, but she's got 2 shorter half days and then 3 longer half days. And then she's going to take a little time Saturday mornings to do some social media planning so that she can have that set up for the next week. So I hope that these examples were useful to you, just kind of give you a sense of how these ladies are using their time. And let's move on to just some things to remember. All right, so I said this earlier, but it's worth saying again. There is no right or wrong way to do this. This is about figuring out what is best for you, your life, your family, your business, and creating a schedule that serves you so that you can step into that next phase of your business. Because this is really the transition that's occurring here when we set up a model calendar. You're going from being an entrepreneurial hobbyist, like working all the time, rushing, kind of that amateur energy, to being the CEO of your business. Of these are the hours that I work. This is what I do during the hours. This is what I do to take care of myself and to show up for my family in the best way possible. And this is what makes sense for me without apologies. And I know that I can create success within this container. That was a huge shift for me. Giving myself permission to truly create success on my terms. Not to think that I had to adhere to the storyline of hustle and blood, sweat, and tears and working 24/7, but that I actually could create success in an easeful, enjoyable, simplified way that would result in bigger things, better things than I had been creating working longer, harder hours. So today I'm running a 6-figure business, as I have been for the last 4 years, working less than 20 hours a week. That is what is possible for you when you start putting these structures and boundaries in place and valuing your time more. Remember at the top of the call, I was talking about valuing your time. That's what can transition for you. Also remember, you are never going to have a perfect week. I never, ever have a perfect week. But without a model calendar, without a standard to live towards, to live up to, I know that I would not get nearly as much as I get done accomplished. I know that I would feel a lot more stressed, a lot more overwhelmed, a lot more worried. When I have a structure, when I have a plan, I can rest easy and lean on the support of that. Also remember that you can change it. Once you create it, it doesn't mean it's set in stone. And honestly, you should change it, right? As you grow and develop as a person, as a business owner, maybe right now you're not yet a mom, but you're hoping to become a mom someday. All of these things are going to affect you, your life, and your model calendar. And so give yourself permission to revisit it at least once a year, if not more often, maybe as much as every quarter, if need be, because life changes. And with the seasons of life, things shift. And maybe over the summer, you don't want to be working as much, or maybe you want to take time off in December and January around the holidays. All of that stuff can be honored within your model calendar. Okay, and so now we've got some takeaway things for you to do. Now that we've reached the end of our training, I, first of all, am so excited that you guys joined me today, that we're kicking off this amazing week together for the live, for the 3-day workweek masterclasses, that we kicked it off with a live masterclass. Rachel Cook's masterclass is opening in 4 minutes for you guys for on-demand viewing. It's on the same page as this masterclass that you're watching now. And all of the masterclasses this week will be on this same page. And so save this link, leave it open in a browser on your computer, or leave it open inside your web app on your phone so that you can just access it with ease. Obviously, I'll be sending out that daily email to give you a heads up about that day's masterclasses, introduce you to the teachers, all that good stuff. But just know, this is the place to be, this is the place to hang out. The other place to be, once you watch your masterclasses, is our 3-day work week Facebook group. So I would love for you to share your biggest takeaway from this model calendar lesson inside the 3-day work week Facebook group, and use the hashtag 3-day work week. This, honestly, I would just love to know how this impacted you, what little nugget you're taking away. And And if you've decided that, yes, this model calendar thing sounds amazing, which I hope it does for you, I hope you're seeing the potential for this and how it can serve you. As you create it, share an image of it within the group. I would love to see what you're creating, what you're thinking about for your model calendar. And if you want my feedback, post a picture, and then I can give you my insight and tips so that we can make a really strong, workable model calendar that best suits you. Also, we've got something super exciting this week. We are doing a giveaway. So if you post about the 3-Day Workweek Masterclasses on Facebook, Instagram, or my personal favorite, if you do an Instagram story, use the hashtag 3-Day Workweek and be sure to tag me, and you will be entered to win the giveaway. So the giveaway is valued at over $825, and the prizes include my Vivid Vision Plan Book, which helps you create the most beautiful plan for the most epic year ever. I've got access to my Money Clarity course, which helps you remove all your money blocks and set yourself up for making more income than ever before. I've got my Attract High-End Clients program. That title is pretty self-explanatory. There's also Starbucks gift cards and a chance to win one-on-one coaching with me at the very end of the week. For those of you who have attended 5 or more masterclasses, you will have the opportunity to win one-on-one private coaching with me. So lots of good stuff for you guys. Please, please get into the Facebook group, get to know one another, share your biggest takeaway from this masterclass, and then post about the 3-Day Workweek Masterclasses on Facebook, Instagram, or Instagram stories with the hashtag 3-Day Workweek and tag me so that you can get entered into that giveaway. We've got so many great prizes. I'm so excited for this week with all of you. And I'll leave you with that. I hope this model calendar lesson was super useful and that you were excited to dive in and create your beautiful model calendar. Like I said, share an image of it inside the Facebook group once it's created, in the today or in the next day or so. And I can give you, if you want, some feedback to make it a really strong, workable model calendar for you. All right, guys, we've been going about an hour here. Rachel's class is shorter, just so you know. The next class, like I said, is it's all about planning your best week ever with her entrepreneurial scorecard system. So this is a really beautiful complement to the model calendar lesson that we just had. She's going to teach you her scorecard system so that you can make the absolute best use of your time and set yourself up for hitting your income goals, or honestly surpassing your income goals. So if you're wondering, okay, I'm creating this model calendar, I see the potential here, how do I take this to the next level? Rachel's masterclass is going to help you do just that. I think it's about 35 minutes in length, so won't take much more of your time. It's going to be released momentarily, and it'll be available for on-demand viewing. All of the classes are available for 36 hours. So you've got today and a little bit of tomorrow to watch, my class. Maybe if you came in late, to watch the beginning and to view Rachel's class. And the next round of master classes will be unlocked tomorrow morning. So thank you guys. It was such a pleasure spending this time with you. I hope that this lesson was super valuable to you, and I can't wait to hear your top takeaways inside the 3-Day Workweek Facebook group, hashtag 3-Day Workweek. All right, guys, have a gorgeous day. I'll see you inside the group.